The Panasonic 5.8FI DECT models, that's the KXTG 933 series and 934 series released in 2008, and the KXTG 64 series and 74 series released in 2009, and the KXTH 1211 series released in 2008, all have two cool talking features. The first is a talking low battery alert, which will play when you turn the phone off or when you turn off the phone after listening to messages. So we're going to turn the phone off and then turn it off. On and off, I mean.
Please charge phone.
This voice is generated by the base and transmitted to the handset. I knew this all along since looking at the manuals, because it says that the voice language for the answering system affects the language of this feature. Now, of course, it could have also meant that the base simply told the handsets which language to use, but either way, it would have needed the base for this announcement to work, and this is not available on the 9311 series, which I believe was only sold in Canada or not even in the US at all. And I think this feature was only in the US and Canada. We're going to now do this again while we look at the in-use light on the base, which is present on the 934 and 644 series. And then if you press any button or the announcement finishes, the in-use light turns off. Now we're going to do this again. This time, we're going to turn the phone off after a message playback and unplug the base while the announcement plays.
No new messages. Please charge.
And then you can hear it does this VTech-like buzz. Because the announcement is generated by the base and transmitted to the handset. Now, I'm not sure why they did it this way. Yes, this was a 2008 and 2009 feature, but would it really have taken too much effort to design it into the handset itself? In fact, that is how the 2017 version of the feature works. This feature went away after these 5.8FI DECT models and then came back in 2017 with the KXTGF5 series. And all models since 2017, aside from the TGD5 series and the non-Panasonic made KXTGB8 series, released in 2020 or 2021, have the low battery alert, this second-gen version of the feature, if you will. This version of the feature, does not rely on the base.
Please charge battery.
And uses a female voice instead of a male voice. On the old version of the feature, the answering system language affects the language of this feature.
Favor de recargar la batería del teléfono.
And apparently the tones sound a bit lower quality when in Spanish, which is weird. That's very weird. And even the tone is generated by the base. So even that will stop when the base is unplugged or the link is lost. And of course, if there's any interference, the tone and message will possibly cut out. None of this happens on the new version,
Please charge battery.
where its language is determined by the handset display language.
Cargar la batería.
Now, we're going to turn the phone on and unplug the base of the 885SK, which is the phone we're demonstrating this feature on. Now we're going to press off.
Cargar la batería.
The base was unplugged, but the announcement still played. That's because it's all in the handset. And it works even if you register it to a base that does not have low battery alert supplied handsets, because of course this one is independent of the base. On the new version of the feature, the announcement can be turned on and off. It can be set to play every hour, every 3 hours, or every 6 hours. This means while the handset is in standby, after the selected time period passes, time interval rather, passes, the announcement will play 3 times. We can simulate this by pressing off 3 times quickly to turn the phone off.
Please charge battery. Please charge battery. Please charge battery.
And I can still use the answering system while the announcement's playing. Compared to the older version of the feature, where you can't use the answering system while the announcement's playing, and as soon as you go off hook using the base or another handset, the announcement stops gracefully. Now I just rebooted the 885SK handset by spamming the talk and phone book buttons during a call. That's a crazy glitch that'll make the handset reboot. Now, the handset is just saying low battery, 1 bar not flashing, no charge for 7H. Now we're going to turn the phone on and then off again, and this time the announcement will be different.
Low battery.
Once again, this announcement will play 3 times every hour, every 3 hours, or every 6 hours, depending on the setting.
Low battery. Low battery. Low battery.
And this is independent of the base, so multiple handsets can do it at a time. On this phone's version of the feature, only one handset can do it at a time. Now we'll put it in Spanish.
Batería baja.
Now notice that on this version, it said favor cargar la batería de teléfono, but on this version, it just says cargar la batería. So this version says please, while this version doesn't. Now I'm not sure why some of Panasonic's Spanish voice prompts don't say please. The greeting does, and the older talking battery alert does, but not the automated call block greeting, and not the newer talking battery alert. It's very important to note that even though the new version is all done in the handset, for some reason it does not play while the handset is out of range. On the 885SK handsets, at least these 2018 builds, although Panasonic very rarely makes software changes in newer builds of a model compared to what AT&T and VTech do, the announcement does play while out of range, but on any other model, it does not. So like on the 994SK or TGU 432, I cannot get the announcement to play while out of range. A very crazy thing that happens with this announcement is if the handset is trying to link to the base, the same time the announcement is playing when you turn the phone off. So now I've disconnected the phone, the power to the base. Now I'm going to dial a number so that the handset is not in standby when I plug the base in. So when the handset is not in standby, the time will not be sent out to the base. Now I'm going to turn the phone on and then back off and listen to what it's going to do now.
Low battery.
You can hear the voice glitches out because the handset is linking to the base to send out the backed up time to the base. This also happens if it's trying to send out key detector data to the base, if you register or deregister a key detector or change its name when it's not able to actually link to the base to change it on both the base and the handset at once. A feature that is only found on these 2008 and 2009 5.8FI DECT models, and that's the second talking feature that this model has that no other model does, is talking alarm clock. So on Panasonic phones released in 2007 or later, you can set an alarm on the handsets. But on these models specifically, you can select not only a tone or melody, but also a phrase. So when we go to the alarm setting, on these models with a talking alert feature, the handset will link to the base when you go to the alarm setting. Now, I'm not sure if that's the case on the 6-3 series. That is this, but with a more rounded base, more rounded top of the handset, amber backlight, no backlit keys, I believe, and no talking alert feature, and no call block. I'm not sure if it links to the base for the alarm on that model because it does not have the talking alarm feature, so there would really be no need for it to. But on this one, there is, because the base is once again used to generate the announcement. So once again, if the base has an in-use light, the in-use light will turn on, and the speaker will turn on. And by the way, on these 5.85 decks, and even the 5.8 version of the 6-3 series, which is the 4-3 series, so same design but black, so same design as the 6-3 series, just black and a 5.8 GHz instead of a DECT 6.0, you can select a year for the once setting as well, but on the newer ones you can't. And the 10.32 works like the newer ones as well. So you can select tone or melody, and these options just appear as you expect. Tone 1 through 3, melody 1 through 4. But now for voice. The manual lists 7 different phrases. Good morning, it's time for dinner, it's time for lunch, it's time for the game, it's time for your meeting, it's time to pick up the children, and happy birthday. Now there is no way these longer phrases can fit on this small display. So did they introduce scrolling text on this model? No. Just like how tone and melody appears as tone 1 through 3 and melody 1 through 4, voice appears as, oddly, voice 1 through voice 7. But they're not different voices, they're different phrases.
Good morning. It's time for dinner. It's time for lunch. It's time for the game. It's time for your meeting. It's time to pick up the children. Happy birthday.
Now it sounds as if it were just in the handset, but it is in fact in the base. We're going to now unplug the base while phrase 6 is playing.
It's time to pick up the children.
Let's try that again.
It's time for dinner.
So we just did it while It's Time for Dinner is playing, and once again, the handset unlinks. The handset is not working, and you can't even scroll. And then it says no link to base, reconnect AC adapter. Now we're going to unplug the base and scroll. And it freezes because it needed to tell the base to play a new phrase. And it does not work. This feature has a very strange quirk to it, and that is the fact that when you save the tone or melody, it saves right away, but when you save a phrase, there's a delay. Now, I don't know why this is, because you can have different handsets set to different voices, which makes sense, different phrases, which makes sense, but for some reason, it has a delay, maybe just to tell the base to gracefully stop playing the message, but of course it stops when the handset unlinks anyways. Now, what's also weird is that It's Time for Dinner comes before It's Time for Lunch, even though lunch comes before dinner in a day. There's also no It's Time for Breakfast, which you might want to use if you're trying to get your kids ready for school or whatnot.
Good morning.
And I'm sure there are other phrases that you might wish that this feature had as well. For example, it's bedtime or it's time for bed might be a good phrase to have added as an 8th option, for example. Now let's have the alarm go off, and we'll demonstrate what happens if the talking alarm is going off and we try to go off hook on another base or handset. Any minute now we should have the talking alarm go off. We're going to look at this handset as it turns to 10:52.
Good morning.
There it goes. Once again, the in-use light is on.
Good morning.
Unlike newer models, the ringer indicator does not flash, and now I'm going to go off hook on another handset. And now the handset is just playing the tone. The manual says if 2 or more handsets are set to play an announcement at the same set time, or if another unit's in use, unit is what they call another handset over base, the handset sounds the tone instead of a selected announcement. The tone is tone 1, regardless of your ringtone setting, or what you may have previously set tone and melody for the alarm to. Because if you select a tone or melody, the selection you made for voice resets to 1, but if you selected a phrase, voice, the tone or melody selection resets to 1, as you can see here. So to set it back to default, just set tone and melody to tone 1, and then set the alarm to off. The newer handsets with the new version of Talking Battery Alert does not have Talking Alarm, but I'm sure that if they reintroduced it, they would put it in the handset. Because of course they would. It is kind of strange that they would use the base for these announcements. The new alarm feature does allow you to set multiple alarms, and once again, it no longer lets you select a year for the once option, and you can set a text memo, and you can have it snooze, but you can't have it speak an announcement. But the text memo feature kind of makes up for it, but the talking alarm feature is definitely cooler. And as far as I can tell, I am the first to make a video about this for YouTube. So these are some pretty cool talking features. Talking Caller ID is completely separate from these features. It uses a completely different voice, base generated, and was present way earlier. This came out in the 2.4 gigahertz era, so sometime in the early 2000s. So 2003, 2004, while the Talking Battery Alert first generation and Talking Alarm were 2008 and 2009, and the second generation, current Low Battery Alert, is 2017 to present. So this feature is now present on the majority of models, compared to back in 2008, 2009, where it was only present on these 5.8ified DECT models with an answering system, with the exception being the KXTH121X series, because that did not have an answering system, yet it still had the Talking Alert features, and therefore the voice language setting for them. Now let's take a listen to a talking alarm in Spanish.
Buenos días. Es hora de la cena. Es hora de la comida. Es hora del partido. Es hora de su cita. Es hora de recoger a los niños. ¡Feliz cumpleaños!